Well, good morning. So, just so you know, this is a pre-recorded session today. If you've never heard of me and you're wondering what this is all about, my name is Brenda Neckwaddle. I am a transformational speaker. I'm a three-time best-selling author, actually international best-selling author now. And I work with companies to help them slice through the drama, help leaders figure that out so they can grow and scale their teams so that they can reach new levels of success. And I deal specifically with dealing with difficult people and helping them build high performing teams. So you see this right here? Dark. It's dark out. It is early in the morning. And if you listened to yesterday's episode, and if you heard the last podcast episode, because I flipped these into podcast episodes, I talked about success is on the other side of the work that you're not doing. So, to stay with my commitment of being here Monday through Friday around the 10 a.m. ish time, I am zero dark 30 recording this because I am not going to, I'm practicing what I preach. So, getting out there and doing the work. He's got something to say about it too. So, what are we talking about today? Today, we're talking about buy in. This is something I was walking the dog after a meeting earlier yesterday. And I don't know why, it just kind of hit me. It was this, it was a memory that came back. And I'm thinking, it's like, all right, so what am I going to talk about in this next live? I'm kind of a little off my plan and my script, and that's okay because sometimes I just need to get creative and not be so, channeled into what I'm doing. I just kind of need my right brain to go. So today it's going. Yesterday it went as well. So we'll probably get back on track here Friday. But I was thinking of just an event that had come up. And it was a friend of mine that was working down in Kansas City. They had just opened up, it was one of the Fortune 500 companies I was working for, and they had just opened up this location. And he was talking to some of his techs, and they were kind of giving him pushback. And he's like, guys, this is something that we just got to get focused in on. We just got to drill down. And they started, the guys are starting to complain. They're kind of whining a little bit about it. Yes, I am an HR person that uses the word whine, WHINE, not WINE. And finally, I saw him do something that was just super cool. And the result blew my mind. He finally stopped and looked at me. He says, guys, I need your buy in on this. And they said, all right, we're in. And I was like, what? Like, that was awesome. And I kept thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. And all these years, it just kind of sometimes like pops into my head is watching him like say that. And it was such an easy flip. And it occurred to me one day, a while ago, that the real reason why that happened, it wasn't because he was popular. It wasn't because he made more money. It wasn't because he did things for his people. It wasn't because he had some magic juju wrapped up in his lunchbox somewhere. It wasn't because of his name, wasn't because of the car he drove, wasn't because of the hilarious stories which he did tell all the time. It wasn't because he was a master technician. It wasn't because he was, came from up north and now he's living down in the South. You know what did it? Is that they trusted him. When you're not getting buy-in, it's likely because there's an element of trust that is missing. When he said, guys, I need your buy-in on this, the only reason why his team opted in and committed is because they trust him. They didn't have to say it. They didn't have to demonstrate it. They had it. And then the more I started thinking about this manager, and the more I started thinking about his leadership capabilities and things that he did, there were a couple things that he did. Number one, he was honest with them all the time. And as much as they drove him crazy, he was still upfront and honest with them. He never gave them a hard time unless they actually earned it. He was also freaking hilarious. I mean, oh my God, this is one of the funniest damn people I've ever worked with in my entire life. And he was just like, somebody would say something and he would have this quick wit, but it was never to like diminish the person. It was just, he was just built that way. So he had this charisma about him, right? You just couldn't help but like the guy. And that's really what charisma is. And he used his humor to build those relationships. And quite frankly, he didn't even have to work hard at it. I mean, it was obviously one of his strengths, right? So there was that. Here's the other thing that happened. He also went to bat for his team when it counted. And they knew it and they saw it. He didn't have to come back and tell them. It was obvious. He also always did what he said he was going to do. And lastly, he never griped about the business. He never ever once complained about it. Now, he was not beyond telling somebody they didn't necessarily like think that this was a good idea, but he was always willing to try it. And you know what that did? What everybody else did? They jumped right on the bandwagon with him. They're like, all right, well, we'll give it a shot too. Like this guy was leading the way. I'm like, and it was just amazing. And then that one day he's like, guys, we got this thing that's going on and we need to change this. And, they're all, doing what they do. And he says, guys, I just need your buy-in on this. And they're like, okay, we got it. Done. That was it. That was all that needed to be said. There was never any more conversation about it. And they did it. And there was no complaining and no griping and no what. So why am I sharing this with you? Because what he did, whether he realized it or not, is that he built trust amongst his team. And he did it very organically. It wasn't anything that he actually worked on. He was just being himself. He was just using his principles, the things that he believed in, not his preferences, but his principles. And it was very evident because that's what happens. Will and I talk about, when we in the book, we talk about how to build high performing teams. But I'm going to be honest with you, where it starts? It starts from a principle based form of leadership. And when you lead from principles and not preferences, preferences are subjective. Not everybody's going to buy into them. Now, principles are more objective. It doesn't necessarily mean people buy into them, but when you come from a principle of human decency and human faith and in human integrity, those are principles that are hard to shake. And we get them from a lot of different places. Like we learn them when we grow up. We learn not to lie. Those lessons don't always stick as we get older sometimes, right? But we're taught that. We're taught to do all sorts of things. We're taught that we have to go to school at a certain time, right? We're taught that we have to show respect to our elders. We're taught that we have to be respectful towards other people, right? Those are basic principles. But when you apply principles to leadership and not preferences, because preferences are subjective, it means that they change. Like not everybody's going to be based off of them. Pretty much nobody likes to be lied to. I guarantee you they don't. I have yet to meet a person who loves to be lied to, even the most sarcastic ones out there, right? Oh, I love it. Lie to me. Come on, give me a break. Nobody likes to be lied to. Nobody likes to be deceived in a negative way. Principles, right? So come from principle-based leadership. And what you're going to wind up starting to see is that people are going to buy in because they're trusting you or they're trusting the company. They may not necessarily trust the company sometimes, but they will trust you. Or they may trust the company and may not trust you, right? Work on trust. If you work on trust, you are going to get more buy-in. Period. So if you haven't thought about it before, get out there and start figuring out, like, where can I build more trust with my team? And here's the thing. Don't fool yourself into thinking that, oh, my team trusts me. there may be stuff that they don't trust you because one, they either don't know, or two, you've made a mistake in the past and they haven't gotten over it. Or number three, you may be demonstrating some of the attributes of building trust, but you haven't got them all nailed down just yet. Look, trust is something, it takes time. Okay. If you've built trust and then suddenly you feel like you've lost it, you can get it back, but just know that it's a long road to hoe. And if you've never started thinking about trust up until this point, and you've never like taken an active stance on working through it, you can start right now. Literally, you can start right now. And there's nothing in this world that you can't change starting from right now. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And it does not mean that it's going to happen instantly. And it sure as hell is not going to happen on your timeline. So leave all of that stuff behind. Just let go of those expectations. Just focus on trusting. And when it comes with trust, guess what? You're going to get more buy-in. Give it a year. Take a 365-day trust challenge. What are you doing every single day to buy and build more trust? Not buy as in purchase, but like buy-in, right? That's actually not a bad idea. I wonder if I should put together a 365 trust challenge. That would be kind of cool. I might do that. I don't know. Stay tuned and watch out for that. Let me ponder that. It's too early in the morning for me to do this. So that's what I got for you today. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Get out there and crush it. And I'll talk to you later.